What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is the King and I Life podcast, hosted by myself, Soul Toucher the Poet, and my brother, Son Soul X, in his joint. Check it out. Hit us up, www.kingandilife.com, for all our podcast info. Subscribe to whatever podcast platform that you choose. Also, hit us up, KINGANDEYE369@gmail.com. Email us your suggestions, your feedback, and all that good stuff. Tune in to us live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, Wednesdays, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And make sure you like, subscribe, and share, because we are all over all those social media platforms. Stay tuned for the good stuff. Yeah.
Beans don't cost nothing. I mean,
I'm trying to tell you.
You might get tired of eating beans, but hey, you bit that 10-pound bag of rice, you get a couple bags of beans. You that's pretty nutritious overall. I mean,
Trying to tell you, boy, you better work your magic like Grandma used to do.
you know.
Shoot.
Oh man,
Goddamn beanie wings.
Hey, look, Joker. Look, you know what? Because when you talk about tax returns, you gonna see that's when you see jokers with their income tax cars and this, that, and up, and that's the thing that blows my mind.
Yeah.
You talk about gas prices, and you talk about this, and you talk about that. These are some of the people who have not mentally or whatever prepared themselves the previous months. If you know that you're gonna get money back, and it's going to be a decent amount of money, instead of running to these we tote the note car lots and this, that, and the other, put yourself in a position to where you can get a decent car that you can maintain and manage, and you don't have to worry about the nonsense. Because, you know, you get $4,000 or $5,000 or whatever back on your tax return, and you go blow it on the car that you want and not the car that's best for you or whatever, then it's a problem. Or you spending your money on a bunch of nonsense and not putting yourself in a situation to where, hey, I know gas is expensive, I know this is expensive, but let me do this and put this money right here so that when I need it, I could pinch from it and not drop a bag on whatever I need. But hey, you know what? You can't tell people these things.
Yeah, man. It's like everybody wants that new shiny, new, as they say.
They want them shiny things.
I want that new charge with the 496.
Oh my God, I want it too, but so let's talk about the U.S. not importing Russian oil being a factor. What are your thoughts on that part?
I get it, but again, if you're not importing Russian oil anymore, where the hell are you getting it from?
There's a lot of places that we get oil from.
That's true. But when old Joe shut down the damn oil line or the pipeline, yeah, you kind of fucked us all on that one, because that probably would have put us in the best possible position where we wouldn't have to depend on anyone as much as we're going to have to now. Because again, with Russia being shut down, or them imposing their tariffs, or however you want to put that, sanctions, thank you. That means everybody else got to go somewhere else. The people that were once getting it, or the nations that were once getting it from Russia, they got to go to the same places we got to go. So again, if you got more people coming at the countries who have those resources, they like, whoa. I got a barrel over here going at 67. I sold 100,000. You get what I'm saying? Like, you basically put them in a position where they can pick and choose who the hell they want to sell to. And you're going to pay their price. I promise you're going to pay their price. Or you're going to be asked out. So, again, it's fine if you want to impose your sanctions, but you better make sure your ducks are in a row. Because I don't see this shit getting any better from here out. It's going to be a long while before it gets back right. If it get back right at all. So, old Joe, he may want to reconsider that damn pipeline, reopening that motherfucker. I'm just saying.
You talking about the pipeline that's going from Canada?
I believe it was.
I need to leave that shit alone.
Okay, give me more information.
Here's the thing. Again, everybody wants to talk about. This is it. Let me start with the Russia thing, and then I'll jump to that.
Okay, cool.
So with the Russian oil, it is reported, stated, said, or whatever, that we only get 3% of our oil from Russia. 3%. Let that number sink in. 3%. And they're saying that this stuff with Russia is the cause for gas going up. We all know that when there's a war or something, whatever the case may be, all right, gas goes up. Okay, cool. My first problem is, why the fuck are we importing the oil from Russia? Like, why? That part right there blows my entire mind. Why are we importing oil from Russia? And that goes back to this global economy, everything linked up, this, that, and the other. But again, if we produce our own oil, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, we have oil platforms in the Gulf of Mexico. Mm-hmm. Why are we importing oil from Russia? Whatever. But we import oil from South America, the Middle East, and all these other places. So with that being said, I'm not understanding why this is affecting our gas prices. This pipeline that you're talking about, I was never a fan of the pipeline. From what little I've looked up on it. One, it's not good for the God damn it, for the land.
For the environment.
Yeah, for the environment. One, it's cutting through a lot of natural land that affects wildlife, people, and all this other stuff. The other thing about that is you also have to consider if it gets damaged at any part, you have to shut that pipeline down. Then you also have this environmental mess that you got to deal with. And you also have to worry about it affecting the wildlife. Will it be cheaper to use this pipeline to ship oil from Canada to here? Don't know. But it's going to cost billions of dollars. Who's going to pay for that? We're going to pay for that. What else are we bitching and complaining about? Taxes. So at what point do we say, hey, we need to chill? The other thing about it is, why are we still using fossil fuels as much as we are? We are at a point in technology to where we can find other alternatives, but this pipeline, if we have our own oil in this natural resources, oil in this country, why are we doing all of this mess? Like, it's just a environmental nightmare for some of this stuff, and all the smart people out there have stated all of the claims and the issues and all this other stuff. So it's like, why are we going forward with all this destructive stuff when we can find other ways? And then the other part of that is, you have people in the government, on people who are for the pipeline, people against the pipeline, they're fighting back and forth, but at the end of the day, do we really care about the environment to the point where we say, hey, you know what? We don't need this pipeline, because at the end of the day, when the environment is shot, the pipeline is not going to matter. It's just not going to matter.
True. You made very valid points. One thing I will say is there has been technology that would allow us to sustain ourselves without robbing ourselves at the same damn time.
Yeah.
Meaning there's an inventor who came up with an engine that ran off of ocean salt water. That's the one source that this planet has the most of.
I mean, that's debatable, because motherfuckers saying we run out of water. Literally.
But the point that I'm making here is there are other alternatives when it comes down to technology. But because of some of these big oil companies and people buying up those patents and then burying those patents, here's where we are. We're basically screwed when it comes down to these prices. You just have no other choice damn near but to pay them or go EV. And again, I think everybody's going to be running towards electric vehicles now. So that market is going to freaking explode. Hint, hint, buy your ass some stocks.
Mm-hmm.
Better yet, buy you some stocks in battery technology, because I got a feeling it's going through the roof. But when you have so many companies who want to suppress these newer inventions, or these inventions that are more environmentally safe, it screws everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the part of, where we're at right now, is by those companies doing that, they pretty much screwed everybody because of their own selfishness and greed. But we'll move on.
But before we move on.
Okay.
I have my thoughts on Dane Calloway. I don't knock him, but some of the stuff that he presents, I'm just not feeling.
Right.
So just was it yesterday, I believe? I was going through my YouTube subscriptions. Yes, I'm subscribed to Dane Calloway, so I'm not a hater, just to put that out there. But he had a video talking about a alternative fuel source for cars. So I started looking at the video, and he was, breaking down certain stuff. And then he said this alternative fuel method was whiskey. My thing was this. Oh, and he also was talking about how back during Prohibition, how people put corn liquor in their cars to make them faster, this, that, and the other, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
Now he was talking about this whiskey as an alternative fuel method, and he was talking about someone who I forgot what the actual compound of alcohol or whatever that was called. But here's my thing. Back then, cars were simple. You can probably throw corn liquor in your gas tank and burn away. You can probably throw some 80 proof alcohol in your gas tank and burn away. Today, vehicles are more complex, and for specific reasons, they're more complex. But what my point about that is, when you talk about these alternative fuel methods that you can use for your internal combustion engine car, your ICE car, you also have to take into consideration how it's manufactured. When we talk about the environment and all this other stuff and inflation and prices, yes, they are making gas out of corn and wheat, barley, whatever the hell they're making it out of. But when you really sit back and think about it, is the cost benefit and the manufacturing process really going to offset the price of fossil fuels? And what I mean by that is in this country, specifically in this country, we, however you want to put it, have already raped the land of its natural, pristine way that it's kind of, just messed up. We're stripping the land of the natural resources for whatever we want out of it, for more farmland, to the point where it's like, at what point do we take all this into consideration? So when we think about alternative fuel methods, as far as, different alcohols, this, that, and the other, you have to take into consideration the manufacturing process. And I'm sure it takes a whole lot more corn than it takes fossil fuels to manufacture enough gas to even fill one gas tank for a car. So yeah, I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's doable, but again, you're going to spend probably more trying to get it up off the ground or figure out the combination before you get to a place where, okay, you got to figure it out and you can do it at a reasonable price.
Yeah. And then supply and demand kicks in. Then what?
True that.
I mean, and then for some of these people like Dan Calloway, I'm thinking to myself, do you practice what you're preaching when it comes just that topic right there? Are you using the alternative fuel method in your vehicle? What kind of vehicle are you driving? I need to know these things because, of course, in his videos, he says, do your own research. Okay, well, that's all well and fine. But if you're doing it, let me see you doing it. Show me that you're doing it before you promote something like that, because the information that you're putting out, okay, good, great information. But at the end of the day, the average person has, or the average person who thinks has to be able to look at that realistically, because, they've been trying to goddamn make gas out of corn for the last, 5, 10, 15 years. And that's not even a standard now. So, and then you talk about natural gas vehicles. Again, even when you talk about natural gas vehicles, you're still getting this stuff from the earth. And when they drill oil from the earth, those flames that you see at the top of them oil things, they're burning natural gas. So it's like, again, it's so much going on that people get lost in the basic shit that they only understand.
Right. Yeah, definitely. The information is out there. But again, like you said, who's actually going to take the time to go do it?
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, people won't see you do it before they even attempt to do it.
Yeah.
So your response to placing the blame on President Biden?
Every president gets blamed for something. And, in my social media scrolling, President Biden this, President Biden that, and this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, blah. You can't blame President Biden for gas prices without blaming every president before him. And what I mean by that is we have been in a manufacturing and research and development stage in this country for a long time, especially when it comes to cars, which is why we now have cars, 4 cylinders or whatever, that can get 30, 40 miles per gallon, which is why we have electric cars now. So blaming Biden for gas prices is kind of ridiculous to me, because then you'd have to blame every other president before him, because the information has always been out there, or the research has always been out there for alternative methods to using fossil fuels. It's just unfortunate that, you know, this Russia thing is going on, and now that he's in office, gas prices have skyrocketed to unbelievable levels, and this, that, and the other. It's like, well, if you really think that he can solely be blamed for it, then you just need to grow the fuck up and just look at what has been going on historically for the last 100 years when it comes to gas prices. Just do that, sit down, and chill out.
When it comes down to blaming old Joe, I think you can't blame him solely. No matter what president would be in there right now, they would be catching the blame.
Yeah.
When I stop at gas stations, that's all I see is I did that sticker. That's all I see. Like, I don't care where I stop at. I'm gonna see that sticker. But again, whatever president, if he didn't win, it would have been Trump. They've been blaming Trump, or whoever else would have won, had they ran. There are so many different contributing factors that has gotten us to the place we are now, that it's insane to blame it on one person.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't do that. And although everybody want to point the finger at the president because he's the one who's in office right now, again, I think you're wasting your time. And I'm not a Joe fan at all, but I'm not a fan of anyone who's come through the presidency here in a while. So it's nothing against him personally. It's just, I think things could be different. But back to what I'm saying is, whoever's in there is fucked up. But a lot of people are blaming Joe. I think that if they really sat back and thought about it, they realize he is out of his control. There are certain things he may have been able to do and certain things he may not have been able to do, but this is just where we're at right now. So you can't blame it on him solely. I think you're crazy if you are.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, I just, Congress has more of a, they have more of a impact on that than Joe does, because they are the ones who really are going back and forth when it comes to passing legislation and stuff like that. Joe can write something up and send it to them, and they can go back and forth of, yeah, we like this part, we don't like that part, or we don't like none of this, send it back and redo it. They are the ones going back and forth with a lot of the stuff. So, when the president, any president, puts forth something, let's just say for the economy, and if inflation and gas prices are a part of that, he can say whatever the hell he want to say, but he has to send it to the House. It has to go through Congress, and then they have to go back and forth with what they want, don't want, what they like, what they don't like. And then after they finish with it, then they send it back up to the president to sign for final signature. And I think a lot of people are ignorant to that, or just are dismissive to it. And I think people in this country fail to comprehend that the president in the United States is more of a figurehead. He's not so much the final say on a lot of things. Like in places like North Korea or Russia or China, when they say this is what it is, that's what it is. We don't have that here. So for people to blame the president, Joe Biden, or any president for any one thing, it's like you're not being realistic. So when it comes to gas prices, you need to blame them jokers in Congress who voted it okay to import stuff from Russia or all these other places, or say, yeah, we're going to send billions of dollars in support to wherever, or we're going to send all this over to Ukraine because they're going through this. You got to blame the jokers who actually okay the bills and do all of that. So I think once people take that into consideration and really take it for what it's worth, maybe look at it differently. But again, we all have our gripes about how things work around here, but this is what the hell we choose to deal with. So, I mean, you just can't point the finger at Joe or any president, really, for that matter.
No, you can't. In all actuality, you can't. There's only so much power the president actually has. And again, his intentions may be one thing, which could be he could actually truly have the best interests of the people at heart or in mind. But because there's a process within this country where it has to go here first, they have to look it over. And then it goes there and they got to look it over.
Yeah.
And then they got to come together and we got to see what we do like, what we don't like, and nitpick the shit out of it before they send it back to the president's office. So, yeah, he might have the best intentions, but it's very rare that the president actually gets his way.
Right. So, anyway, so how has the pandemic affected your outside activities?
It hasn't. Truthfully, it really hasn't. I still go where I need to go, do what I needed to do. And of course, I try to keep myself protected as much as possible, meaning make sure I wash my hands and keep my mask on when I'm in certain environments. But overall, it hasn't changed for me.
And financially?
So financially, this is probably one of the best financial years I've had in a minute. Mm-hmm. To be honest with you. And it's for the lack of a better term, it's a blessing. I know it's a blessing. Because, everybody's not as fortunate. But yeah, overall, it's just another day for me. How about you?
Yeah, I agree with that. For the most part, when it comes to the pandemic as a whole, it's like generally keeping myself safe, this, that, and other, whatever the case may be. Yeah, I got vaccinated, but outside of that, it's like I'm with you. It's been a good year. Well, shit, a good 2 years actually. Because I can honestly say that with a lot of things being shut down, I've spent less money on things that I was spending on before. Like, being able to telework, has saved me a lot of money on gas, maintenance on my car, tolls, and just a whole bunch of other stuff. I wasn't going out as much, not to say that I was going out a lot before, but right. It's afforded me to do a lot of things that I've had on my list to do that I wasn't able to do because I had to do other things. It's also afforded me to be in a position to where I was able to make $40,000 more because of National Guard. So, that's last year. So yeah, it has helped. But as far as like outside activities, it's given me the opportunity to actually go outside. And when I mean outside in the air, to get fresh air, to do those outside things. So, it's and truth be told, that's an overall benefit for health, because it's like before, it's like, I want to go outside and take a walk or do this or do that. But it's like, shit, I could hop in my car and go do X, Y, and Z. So I ain't doing that.